Alrighty, Lumberjacks, welcome back. And today we're going to do a little mod update because I know everybody is thirsty for information on the mods. And I've been getting tons of emails from people and direct messages and everything under the sun asking about when the mods are coming out, where they're at, what's going on. So I recorded a whole bunch of mod videos there in a row during some time off that I had while I was modding. And then I went right back into hardcore 7 days a week. Just crazy winter schedule going on for work right now. So I didn't have time to record videos. I did have time to mod in the evenings and mornings, but I didn't record any videos. I just hammered down and started modding. So today's going to be our little update video. Things are going extremely well. Machines are great. Grapples are great. Everything. We're going to go over everything today, just kind of demoing off the different stuff that we have and showing kind of what we've discovered, some of the cool things and some of the bad things, and all the whole works. So, what was I going to say? First things first. So we had a vote on the donators. So on Patreon and on YouTube, I put a little vote out about the tracks. So if you guys want to be part of the voting process and all that kind of fun stuff, you can join our Patreon or YouTube crew, and then you guys can put your 2 cents in on mods as we go. So although I haven't been putting out public videos, this is the first public video in a while. I have been posting updates and pictures and votes and comments and all that kind of stuff about the mod process, which is kind of the benefit to people who donate. They get to kind of see behind the scenes a little bit on what's going on. So that's open to everybody. So anyway, while we were doing the mod voting process, we came to a voting conclusion. So on the original machines for the game, which are like the, if we go down to the excavators here, where's the excavators? Oh my god, I went past it. I zoomed too quickly with this thing. Did I zoom past it? Why am I blind? There it is. Okay, so on the original in-game excavators that use the same tracks, all the tracks are this kind of painted black color, as you can see. Very black. So I put it to a vote. Did we want the black tracks, or do we want these sort of shiny chrome type tracks? And on most machines that I've run in forestry or anything really, they usually have a pretty shiny kind of a chrome looking track just from wear and running and going through the dirt and stuff. That or they're very rusted. It's usually one or the other, but most of the ones I've run do have a very kind of a clean, shiny track color. Right when you get the machine out of the factory, they have like black tracks from being painted, but that doesn't last very long after you're operating and running them. So basically, the in-game tracks are black, and then they have, over time, they wear down really slowly, and they get all these little chips and stuff in them. I don't like the wearing system, and I don't like the dirt system that this game has. Unfortunately, the dirt and the wear system is exactly the same as it was in FS22. I thought they had changed it, but looking at it in the editor and deeper, it's exactly the same. And I do not like the dirt system. I do not like the wear system. I think it's just really not well implemented. You know, you'll drive through this little bit of grass here, and then suddenly dirt will start appearing randomly on your machine, and it's just, I hate it. I don't like how it magically accumulates. It doesn't follow the patterns of the tracks. It's something I've never liked, is the dirt in this game. You go to games like Mud Runner, and you look at the way the dirt dynamics and the mud dynamics hit the vehicles, and it looks really good. In this game, I've never liked the dirt. I've always thought it was really poorly done. I don't like the system. I don't like how it incorporates on the machines. So just like FS22, these mods aren't having dirt and they're not having wear. Those have been disabled on these entirely, so they don't do that. And I know that's always been a point of contention with some people. They really like the dirt. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like it, so it's not going on there. That's basically where I'm at. If they ever come up with a system that's better, like better dirt distribution, or maybe like a 3D type dirt distribution, so like you can see the spots, I don't know. Anyway, it's probably asking too much, but either way, on your first mod packs that'll come out, you're not going to see anything dirt. I won't say never or won't ever come up, but the testing I've done with the dirt and the wear, it's exactly the same as it was in FS22, and I hated it there, and I still hate it now. So you're probably not going to see it on these mods, so just enjoy them in their clean, beautiful looks. On to better things, though. So I'm going to show you guys off some stuff here. So as I told you guys before, the logs have changed. So this is my own little custom map that I put together. It's just like a little play around map that I've been using to test and experiment. So I have found a way to make the logs respond a lot better, which involves increasing the weight, not a lot though, like a very minor increase of the weight of the logs, and also decreasing the friction by quite a bit. So these logs, originally when you get them in the game, they're very sticky. They stick to each other. They stick to your grapple. You try to dump them on the ground and they all just kind of like bunch together. Like you could stack up, like if you had 4 rows of these, you could just stack them up in a pile. They all like stick together. There's also some sort of a weird effect where they actually get latched to each other occasionally. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the heck that was, but I think it's been resolved. So basically, these logs that'll be on my logging maps that I make are going to be a little tiny bit heavier than the stock ones. Not crazy, but like a teeny bit heavier. And also a little bit higher friction, and that seems to work really good with the grapples. So the grapples themselves have also been changed. Here, I'm actually just going to hop in this machine here. And as you can see, the bodies turned out great. All of the machines in the game actually look fantastic. The texturing, everything worked out just freaking great. It looks really good. The lighting and the light refraction on the textures and the machines looks way better. You don't have that gross bubble effect anymore. There's no shiny, square, chunky bits that look terrible. It actually just all really blends really nice. And oh man, that's something I've wanted since FS, back in the day, FS. Okay, so let's hook this guy up here. So this is our power clam grapple. So one thing I've had to do with these grapples, what I tried to do is I tried to take the physics dynamics from FS22 and I tried to bring them over just as they were into this game, and man, did it not work. So I've had to basically start from scratch on these grapples and bring them back to life. So one thing that I've discovered that I've had to do with these logs is you'll notice as I move side to side, those claws kind of have a little bit of wiggle to them. Actually, if I go like this, you could probably see it better. You see how they got a little bit of wiggle? They move back and forth. So I've actually given them some give force, so they actually can move back and forth. And on real equipment, you actually do have a little bit of give on the grapples. So I kind of took that into context. They do wiggle around a little more than obviously in real life. There's a bit more tension there. But basically allowing it to have that little bit of bend in the grapple allows you to wrap around the logs quite a bit better for grabs, and it fixes the issue of them being really glitchy with the logs. So when I used the original grapples from FS22 and I brought them in here, they were really stiff. So when I went to grab these logs, unlike FS22, the logs freaked out and they went flying all over the place, which was crazy. So for the most part, it's way better. I think it grabs way better than FS22, but that's just kind of my opinion, which I think is a good opinion because I spent way too much time on this stuff. So when you go in for your grabs, it wraps up the logs quite nice. There's only one weird glitch I get occasionally, so I don't see if I can recreate it here. Oh, it's not doing it right now, but sometimes when you grab onto the logs, it causes that head to kind of like jitter back and forth a little bit, but like it's like a jerky motion. It's really weird, but it's something new with the components or the physics that they did that's completely different, because it definitely didn't do that at all in FS22, so there's something's been changed there. But overall, like when you're grabbing from the bunks and stuff, like everything seems to react quite nice. I'm trying to see if I can get it to do that jitter thing. Oops, as I catch the thing. Oh, of course it's not doing it now, but it was doing it earlier. But the grapples hang on very realistically and quite nicer than FS22. The logs roll up pretty decently, and you can make readjustments. Some of the logs are weirdly shaped, like the beech trees and stuff are a little bit weird, but like penciling and stuff works still really well. Oops, if you can learn how to pencil. So again, you can do a little pressure on there. You can do your stretches out, and the logs actually pencil really nice. They don't get jammed up on each other, and then you can still do your thing. But the grapples, like I said, are holding really, really well, which I'm really happy with. Now, I've spent so much time on these friggin' grapples, you have no idea. Like, it's been days of just staring and moving micro numbers around trying to get them to a happy place. And I gotta say, I'm in a pretty happy place with them now. I have well over 100 hours in Farming Simulator, and I have yet to actually play the game. It's all just testing hours. It's insane. So at least you guys know I'm working hard to get a good product. But honestly, right now, I'm very happy with the way that the physics are reacting now and the way that the grapples are reacting now. Like I said, this is all weird shaped wood too, so to have it roll up nice and actually work well with the grapples is pretty sweet. You're still going to get the occasional glitch because that's just the way it is, but honestly, these are the most well-behaved logs that I've had to play with yet, and it's working pretty good for that. And actually, one of my favorites is this button top grapple now, so I'm going to just plunk this over here. So this is the new upgraded button top grapple. Whoops, I had that placed in a weird way. So ignore that. It grabs fantastically. Like, I can't describe how good of a grab this thing gets on trees. Like, it's nuts. It feels very realistic, which is pretty sweet. Oops, it's stuck on there. Same with when you're loading long logs, it's got a really good grip on it. But like these short logs and stuff, like, oh, I could just use this all day long. It's a fantastic feeling. But as you can see, like, the logs do grab nicely. They're not really fighting with the grapple as much as they used to. They settle quite well in there. Obviously, if you're loading mixed sizes, you still got to watch your spacing, because just like real life, if you load a bunch of heavy logs with tiny or large diameter logs with tiny logs on the bottom, there's a strong possibility they'll creep out. But I mean, the grapples get really nice grips on the logs. Works out pretty nice. Yeah, and it's just that kind of nice roll-up effect that you get, especially using this grapple. It does bite into those logs really well, and you do feel like you got a really nice grip on it. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be more than just about grapples, but grapples is the thing I spend the most time on trying to get them realistic, because I am an obsessive loader operator, so I really want them to be as good as possible. And this is way better than FS22 in terms of how they react. I can tell you right now, as somebody who has spent way too many hours on playing with these grapples, I am very, very happy with the results. So you guys are going to be happy too. Okay, that's it. I'm going to put this one on here, and then I'm going to stop because I'm addicted. And if I keep going, it's like a bad addiction, and I'm going to need to go to a rehab program for loader operators. Okay, so the other one is this guy here. So this is just another grapple, one of our DH grapple, another one of our options for doing the thing. Again, same kind of concept. They do grab really nice. They hang on really well. And you know what? They're actually slightly lighter. It's funny, I can't figure this out. So the grapples are actually lighter and have less grab than they had in FS22, but yet the logs are heavier than they were in FS22. Figure that one out. Actually, here, let's unload. Very strange. It's my brain has been just in an absolute tizzy trying to figure out what's going on with that, but you know what? It's working, and I got a really good balance. Again, these logs are the custom FDR ones for the maps, so they do settle a little bit better. Again, the ones from the base game I'm finding they just stick to each other way too much. Like, they hang up on each other really bad. They get stuck really bad. Yeah, it's really weird. Very, very weird. But as you can see, like, these grapples are rocking. It feels like real life. As somebody who's unloaded a few of these, like I said, this is the closest, and I say this with all grapples, but this is the closest I've ever gotten to this smooth of loading and unloading of vehicles with grapples. So super proud of the grapples. I cannot scream any harder about how good those are, but I'll try once in a while. So here's our feller buncher. So we have our feller buncher here. Actually, you know what? Let's do the skidder first, because then I can get these logs out of the way. So, I'm going to move our processor back just a teeny bit here, because we're going to drag some of these logs over here. Let's just get you right out of the way. We're going to show off all this stuff. This might be a bit of a longer video, but you know what? You guys love long videos, so we're just going to keep rocking with it. So our skidder, this is the Cat 535. Now, this is the only skidder I have built right now. That doesn't mean it's the only skidder I'm building. It's just the only one that I have right now. This will probably be the first one to come out in the pack. And it might be by itself in the first pack, but don't worry, more will come. I'm just really trying to get a really good version of everything before I get it out. You're going to notice in this pack, the first one that comes out is there's going to be some machines are missing and some machines are there. Some of the machines models were way too extremely detailed in terms of high poly counts and vertice counts, which affects the performance of the game really bad. So I went through and cleaned up the ones that I could, and I brought down the poly counts by an extreme amount on a lot of these. So you can buy a whole pile of these machines now and have them all playing together, and your frame rate stays very, very good. As opposed to FS22, when you bought a bunch of these machines together, it would cause huge frame rate drops or larger frame rate drops. So now these ones are actually all really smooth. Again, some of the models of some of the machines from FS22 are in really bad shape, meaning they're just way too high poly count, so they didn't make it over. Some of them will return, some of them may not return right away, some of them have to get sent back to be remodeled. It's a big process, so nothing has been completely canceled yet. It's just things are getting worked on. Anyway, we're going to keep moving forward. So skidder. So as described in the broken skidder video that I put out, that got lots of comments and tons of emails, the locking strap system does not work anymore. They borked it. It doesn't do what it did in FS22. So it works great on the trucks. It works on the forwarder, fine, no problem, but you cannot use it on the skidder because it causes the logs to float. Anyway, you guys saw that video. It was just stupid. So I tried the log grab script as well, and that also is just, it's just not good. So I right now do not have any locking script at all on this grapple. It is just a grapple by itself, but in some testing, I haven't really had any huge major issues. So as long as you grab the logs with a bit of a neck on them, like not too much of a space, oops, as long as I can use my depth perception, it does grab them fairly decently. You can still have the logs slip and slide in the grapple, but for the most part, like hauling logs even longer distances, I haven't had any huge issues with it. Of course, I parked the processor right in my drop zone there. That's okay. We're just going to bring it over here. So part of me is kind of happy that it's working without locking straps. Although I would love that extra little bit of a safety feature just to know that my locking straps are secured. So far, it's been pretty good. If you have a huge bundle of trees piled together with lots of little ones mixed in there, you do have a potential for those falling out. But even these groupings that you're seeing right now, like they hold pretty darn good. I haven't really had any. I had like one slip out once, but here you get a mixed bag where it's kind of you get some bigger pieces and smaller pieces. So we'll grab a little further up on the neck on this one. So again, it grabs a pretty decent grab on there, but you still have the potential for logs to slip out. So depending where you're going, as long as you're not jarring them up against trees and stuff, it probably will work quite well. I'm just going to leave that there for now. And I'll get this last little bit here too. But yeah, no, honestly, the experience with the skidder has been really, really good. As you can see, it's grabbing quite well. And again, we're not using locking straps. We're not using a log grab thing, nothing. This is just the grapple itself being awesome. And I mean, that might play into the new grapple physics too, being able to have that little bit of give on the grapple. Maybe that's giving it the ability to kind of irk around the edges a bit better. I don't know. Oops, I think I got some stumps in the ground I'm running into. Good enough. But yeah, so we'll try it out. Again, we're going to do some more thorough testing here, but so far, very impressed with the grapple physics across the board, including the skidder. As you saw, it holds those logs pretty darn good. I haven't really had anything terrible happen. Okay, so onto the processor. The beautiful processor. So you get the new South Star head. Basically the same mechanics as we had before. There's nothing really crazy changed on the processor. It still cuts decently. We're set at 7 meters, so we'll just leave it at that. Still, like I said, no like major changes. It still operates pretty much as the processor does. Just helps if you turn it on. Again, the logs pile half decently. I don't know if they pile as decently as they used to, but I don't know. I'd say it's similar to FS22. I wouldn't say it's worse or better. Similar. But like I said, you get your mixed sizes. And now with all these different types of trees too, you're going to have a real fun time trying to sort the trees in play. Overall, the visuals on the processor look really good. I was able to fix it so now the processor actually stands properly straight up, playing with the physics and weights and stuff like that. The rollers have some new texture stuff on there, so a little bit shinier and prettier looking. The body itself has been completely remodeled, so it's like less polys. It's crazy. So me not knowing anything about modeling at the time, this body actually had more polys or vertices, like a higher percentage of that than like 3 machines combined because of how much detail was in there. So it got squared up and cleared out, and some of the little vertice spots were cleared. And now it's like really smooth. Frame rate's really good. There's a couple glitches on here. I might have to send this back to somebody or send this to a modeler to do. There's like some weird glitchy spots where it's like the texture didn't go properly. But again, I'm not a professional modeler by any means, and I've never made that claim. So we just cleaned it up the best we could for now. And you know what? I still think it looks good. Maybe not perfect. There's probably things you guys will find on these machines that are not 1,000% perfect looking. But overall, I think they look better than they did in FS22. And the comments I'm getting from people that I share the photos with are very impressed and very happy. So there's always going to be sticklers that want every detail to be perfect. But at the end of the day, it's like I hate to make the claim that I'm not a gaming studio with a big team. It's just me and the people I contract some modeling stuff out to. That's basically the team. So bear with me if everything's not perfect. Again, my big thing is I want the machines to operate. Visuals has been a big part for me trying to get them really nice over time, and I think they look way better than they ever have. That doesn't mean they can't look better or that they're the best they'll ever look, but yeah, I don't know. I think it looks good, and they perform amazingly well, and that's the big one. Another thing you're going to find, if I haven't talked about it before, oh, perfect. It did it right when I was about to talk about it. This, well, I didn't go through the ground, but what happens is when I'm bunching, specifically when I'm bunching or processing, sometimes these will actually go through the ground. So like, if I put on super strength for a minute, pick this tree up. So what'll happen is the tip of the tree actually goes through the ground like, well, that one fell through, but it'll actually go through the ground and it'll stick in the ground. So I'm going to get this at an angle here. If I stand on the track. So this is what happens. Basically, the tip of it goes through the ground like that. Exactly what happens. And what happens is this piece, you can see, I think it's something to do with these breaks, like where the breaks are in the tree here. But what happens is it goes down through the ground and it gets stuck there. And then you can pry at it and pry at it. Sometimes it'll pop back out of the ground if you're prying at it with the grapple, and then other times you'll need to take a chainsaw and actually cut it. But as you can see, the physics are actually right through the ground, so that might have something to do with their new texture ground deformation stuff. But it happens, I wouldn't say super crazy often, but it does happen for sure. I don't know if I'll be able to save this log now because I think I buggered it. Sometimes you can pry them out of the ground if they're stuck like that, but other times they're just lost forever. The other thing you can do is if you just stick the whole tree through the ground and let it go into infinity. As you can see, it's falling off into infinity. Actually, you know what? I wonder if it ever disappears. Oh, it does disappear eventually. Look at that. So, yeah. So that happens occasionally, especially when you're bunching. I'm actually about to hop over to the buncher so we can take a look at that effect. But yeah, if you're dropping your tops, sometimes the tops go through the ground. And these are base game style trees. They may have our physics, but it does it with the base game trees too, which is really weird. But these new custom trees are a lot better. Here's the beautiful Timber Pro. Again, this one turned out really, really well. It's got the nice tilter. I just think the machines in general, like the bodies, the everything just looks way better. I think it just looks way cleaner, way smoother. it's all about that light refraction. Like the way the light hits the body, it's just so much nicer. You don't have that, again, that ugly look. Even the cabs and stuff, like they're all just smooth, and like you used to get those little, I used to call them like the lightning jitters, where you'd have like a surface piece that had like a bright shiny reflection, and it would just jitter and look, oh god, it would just look god awful. Bubble wrap, which you don't want. So buncher back in action. Again, it's working super fantastic. We have the ground deformation working out just fine. So like, you know, you can dig up the ground with your bottom of your head and it leaves that cultivated texture, very similar to FS22. The heads themselves have been completely redesigned because we had to completely redesign them to make them work. I always say I had to redesign them. I gotta start claiming my love here. But honestly, like, they're working really good, and these trees are very fun to bunch. They're very bunchable trees. So again, drop them, and they pile nice together. I have the frictions on the ground on my maps turned up as well. So that's probably helpful to the bunching. So the weights on the machines are a teeny bit lighter, but not by much. You're going to feel a little bit of give at certain ranges. So, you know, if you're picking up these larger trees, you're going to feel a little bit of tip. So again, this is a heavy tree, very big. So you're going to feel a little bit of tip if you're off track, especially if you're off track. So off track is basically that direction. So your off track is this way when you're loading, and then your direct on track is when you're like front to back. So weight distribution is always going to be better if you're going straight on with your target of lift where it's heavy, and then if you're going off track, that's where you're going to lose your balance and tip over. So keeping your load close to your machine and then adjusting is very helpful. And then once you're on track, well, I'm going to fall over. There you go. So another cool thing in this game is once you tip over, the machine doesn't try to upright itself. It stays tipped over, which is actually pretty sweet. So if you're climbing up these big hills or big mountains, it's really easy to slip off the side and smash. Actually, here, we'll go on a little tour here. I did promise you guys this was going to be a long video, so you guys get to see all the cool stuff. So the tracks are pretty grippy. Like they're probably very unrealistically grippy, I guess you could say. So if I put this thing in crawl mode here, the key is, oops, I'm going backwards up this hill. Let's turn this thing around. Oops, don't fall over again. Save yourself. Oh no. Uh-oh. Now we're in a real pickle. There we go. Okay, I'm going to super strength it. Normally I would probably need a winch system, which they have, to fix that. But the cool part is now you guys, it's going to be realistic-ish. If you're doing stupid stuff on a hill with your arm fully reached out, or you're grabbing trees at a wrong angle, you can tip your machine over, which is realistic. Again, our tilt system's working, so we have our wonderful tilt system to keep our stuff straight. So if you're going up a steep incline like this, keeping your head as far forward and uphill of you will keep your machine nice and stable. So we get a little bit of slip on this muddy stuff, but we generally can climb this without issue. Again, we do have the winch system built into the back and front of the chassis, so if you really need to do some crazy stuff, you can. But for the most part, it actually works pretty darn well, and it looks really good. So may not be 100% realistic. You'd have to fight pretty hard, I think, to get up some of these inclines with these tracks. You'd probably slip and slide, but there's got to be a little bit of a arcadey element to the game to make it playable. So with these type of tracks being as sticky as they are climbing up this hill, you're not going to have as many issues if you run over like sharp, jaggy ground. If the ground's really smooth, it's going to be like easy going up. But the problem is if I make the friction any slipperier, if I make these tracks more slippery, which some people want, I'm sure, if you're going over a really sharp terrain or weird terrain, the thing will get stuck and the tracks will just spin and you can't go anywhere, which is really, really stupid. Nobody likes that. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Also, this map is a test map, but the person who created the starter map was Farmer Bob. He put out a bunch of like, here you go guys, blank maps, and I always take advantage of the people that make the blank maps because it's so handy, it's so cool and helpful to have all that set up so I don't have to go clear my own map and do all that stuff. So big shout out to Farmer Bob. I don't know if his name's up here in the corner somewhere. No, maybe not. But Farmer Bob made the test maps for the start. So big thanks to that guy for putting those out into the community for people. I love the other modders sharing stuff. What else was I going to go over? Oh, truck and trailer. So the truck and trailer is all set up. So the trailer's a little bit lighter than they were before, just due to the new log physics and new stuff. But they operate pretty much the same as FS22. We have just the one truck that we brought over from FS22. They didn't actually have this truck in FS25. I was surprised because I really, really like this one. This is the what is it? The Mac. It's not the Anthem. It's the other one. Oh, the Pinnacle. This is the Pinnacle. And I love this truck. Like, this was one of my favorites, like, out of all of them that they had. And they didn't have it in the FS25. I was really surprised. So I brought it over, and I painted it all black because, I don't know, it just looks sweet being black. So I made it completely black. And I don't know, I just think it's freaking sweet looking. It's a great truck. And we carried over all our headache racks and all that kind of fun stuff and chromed it up and made it all pretty. And this is the only truck that we have right now. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have more, but that's the only truck that we have in game right now. It's also got some sweet lighting on the front. I spent a bunch of time putting a bunch of those orange LEDs and all the mirrors and stuff, because all the lights didn't really transfer over from the last game. So I just kind of tried to make it look cool. And I don't know, I really like this truck. I think it's pretty sweet. So anyway, this will be the base truck. It's not color selectable. It's just black. That's just the way that FDR one is. But again, we might have other trucks that'll be showing up here in time. There's nothing really that's color selectable in this game, mostly because brands that I'm dealing with have specifically asked for certain colors, and they don't want their brand being represented as any other color outside of that color. The only one is Timber Pro. They did want me to stick with their company color, which is red. The Timber Pro base default stuff is red, and I think that's kind of the direction they're heading. But you'll notice in real life, lots of Timber Pros are painted different colors. They're white, they're green, they're pink, they're whatever, right? So I left these red by base. Same with the Quadco head, and the Pro Pack head is now just red by base as well. The company colors, again, are just that base kind of red color. So at their request, we're keeping the heads to their company colors, just to kind of keep it baseline. In the future, we might change that, but for now, not much is color selectable in terms of customization. I think that's pretty much all the stuff I wanted to go over. I have another map that I'm working on. It's getting there. The Patreons, if you guys want, come be a Patreon or a YouTube member, and you guys can see the pictures of the new map that's coming along. It's pretty sweet. I don't know if the game's going to be able to handle it because I did put a lot of trees down, but I might have to go in and kind of clean up some a little bit. We're going to see how that goes. Other than that, like I said, guys, the mods are going fantastically. Everything is working out great. The grapples are next to real life, better than anything I've ever seen. I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be good. I can't wait to get this stuff out to you guys. I'm really hoping to get it to you guys before Christmas, or like maybe the week before Christmas, but I don't want to make a guaranteed promise of any kind because, you know, in modding, anything can literally happen while you're doing this stuff. So hoping before Christmas. To everybody who's going to buy all your joysticks and stuff as a Christmas present, I promise you that I'm going to have it soon. Or at least a practice one soon. Some kind of something out there for you guys to play with. So everybody who's been supporting on Patreon, YouTube, and continues to support, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Especially your feedback on the mods and the voting and all that stuff does help to create better equipment. And that's not just my opinion that's out there. It's everybody shared in the community. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. I just wanted to give you guys this little mini exciting update about the changes. It's going to be good. That's all I got to say. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.